Hey Bret Hart student gardeners, Miss Hope here. I just wanted to make a video to show you what to do with your plants next before winter break, because I know that they're growing really well. You're taking great care of them. I'm so proud of all the good work you're doing. So when our plants start to get a little bit bigger, like I've got my pea plant here, we need to give them some more space. And we do that by transplanting them. This just means moving them into a bigger container. I'm going to use my pea plant for an example. So your pea plant either has a yellow or a green paper clip. So first you're going to need to gather your materials, and you're going to need a bigger container to plant them in. You could go to a garden store and buy a bigger pot. If you have a garden, you could put it outside in a garden bed. But if you don't have either of those things, maybe you already have something in your house that could be a great planter, like a large can, or even a bucket. If you're making your own planter, make sure that you put holes in the bottom so that our plants don't get too wet and drown. You'll also need to get some more soil. Getting potting soil or compost is ideal because it has all the nutrients your plants need to grow. Here I have gathered all my materials. So I've got my plants and my soil, a bigger pot, a shovel, which isn't necessary. You could just use your hands too. That's always fun. And I also have this stick because peas like to climb. You might notice how tall your peas are getting, and they're going to want something to climb on. The first step is to mix some water in with your potting soil. It can be really dry when it comes in the bag. So I put water on and then I mix it with the shovel or your hand if you're brave, until it's kind of like a doughy consistency. You don't want it to be sloppy, but you want to make sure that it's totally saturated with water. So then I'm going to fill my pot with soil about to the top and make sure and just move the soil aside so that there's a space for my plant to go. So here's my pea plant, and I know that it's ready to transplant because it's about 4 inches tall. I also know that it's ready to transplant because you can see the roots coming out the bottom of the pot. That means it's looking for some more space. So these paper pots are actually compostable. We don't need to take the plant out of the pot, but you want to remove some of it. So this is easier to do when it's wet. And you're just going to peel off the top. The reason we do this is that if you leave the top exposed, it might dry out the soil. So I'm just going to go around peeling off the top of the pot. And it should be kind of easy to do. You want to be gentle and make sure you don't hurt your plant in the process. And there we go. The top of the pot can be composted. You could put it in with your veggie scraps if you do that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom as gently as possible. This is where you have to be so careful because your plant is still a baby and its roots are really sensitive. So I'm just going to tear a little bit off so that the roots have more space to grow. But then I got to an area and I saw that there's a lot of roots, so I stopped. The roots, as you could see, are coming out the bottom anyway. So we want to try and make it easier for them, but the most important thing is that you don't damage your roots. So then I just really gently put my plant in the pot, in the little hole of soil that I made. And then I just used my hand to gently move soil around so that the plant is totally covered and soil is full to the top. So here's a picture. I put the stick so that my pea has something to climb on. And then the last bit, which is not my favorite part of gardening, is that plants do need space to grow. So we are going to remove the extra bean sprouts. We planted more seeds than we actually need because sometimes seeds don't germinate. So in this case, we want to leave the biggest one and just gently pick off the littler ones. In my case, I had 3 sprouts. So I picked 2 to leave the one to grow up the pole. And there they are. Pea sprouts actually can be eaten. So they won't go to waste. If you want to try them, make sure you give them a good wash. They're pretty yummy. And that's it. We're going to do the same thing for our radishes, which are either your red or your white paper clip. Also your borage, which is your blue paper clip. And your bok choy, which is your pink paper clip. So good work. Let me know if you have any questions and have a wonderful break. Love y'all.